Peace. Islam. Chickamauga, Alamassi, coming at y'all live. Deep down. Alamassi, Arabian country. Deep in the Arabian district. In the so-called city of Cordele, so-called Georgia. Old Muslim town. It's very much evidenced by the building right behind me. This is the old historic McCullum building. But you know, that's just the European industrialist that was able to probably take over the title of this type of building after 1865. You can see this is clearly a Moorish Muslim building. I mean, come on, man. All the way down to the minaret and the old antenna on top of it. We've always had antennas. We've always had radio frequencies. We've always had free energy, all these type of things. Don't get it messed up. These people, again, the technology has always been here. It just became corporate and industrial. So when they're talking about fake Thomas Edison and all this nonsense, these people were able to get the titles to the technology for the new corporate reality they created. It was supposed to be from mass production to mass consumption. Because in the old culture, you couldn't come into these cities. These cities might have had electricity. They might have had the energy. They might have had all of the amenities like air conditioning and heat. But if you were not noble and you were not in the blood and you didn't have a past, you couldn't come into these places. So you would be out in a tent somewhere where you belong. You know what I'm saying? A lot of you corporate clowns, y'all will be out in tent city somewhere, living like the bums that y'all are, because y'all don't have the merit or the nobility to manifest anything like this. And you had to have a past to get to this type of stuff, and that's why y'all was player hating. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, again, this is an old Moorish building. You can look all the way down the block, see all of these Moorish buildings, all in disrepair and all abandoned. Of course, the city of Cordele was another city, another old Confederate Muslim city that was surrounded and squeezed, industries drained, and them clowns just left. You know what I'm saying? Just raided America. All in the campaign to destroy Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying? Just a bunch of busters, man. You know what I'm saying? And then again, y'all gotta continue to, all of these fake leaders in the so-called community, the Mississippian community, they wanna call themselves, they talking, all this Juneteenth and all of these fake so-called black holidays and so-called black leaders and civil rights clowns. These people sat up here and did all that whining and complaining and BSing around all these years, and they never told you that these were your buildings. They never gave you any claims. They never told you about your nationality or your flag or anything like that. They were just talking some RBG garbage, you know what I'm saying, and selling out to foreigners. Because again, these are the type of people, of course they know better, but these marching, praying clowns and want to beg for reparations type of goofies, these people really don't want any empowerment. They don't want any empowerment for their own people, because they know deep down they're losers, and they know if we go back to an old meritocratic society, they won't be able to compete with real men, and the women won't be able to compete with real women. You know what I'm saying? So, and they know they were artificially raised up to leadership post 1865. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But we're gonna do the knowledge to Cordele, because again, if you do your own research, you have a little bit of knowledge yourself. You can kind of read between the lines, and they'll pretty much tell you the real history of these places that they don't know. Because again, if these industrialists and these new settlers and these people who just got here, like in the last 150 years or so, if they were the ones who constructed these beautiful structures, they would not be looking and left in disrepair like this. And I mean, you can literally travel the country and just see how this see how the whole entire country was ransacked and raided by a bunch of garbage, by a bunch of satanic pirates. You know what I'm saying? And the lames that's in this bloodline, they assisted. You know what I mean? Like the lames. And these people are still in prominent positions in the community. But it's just time for them to all be judged. You know what I'm saying? So, as far as Cordele, it'll tell you that the city of so-called Cordele, it was incorporated in 1888. You know what I'm saying? Why was it just incorporated in 1888? But it was one of the last. It was a temporary capital of the Confederacy in 1864, when the Confederacy was kind of in retreat. But one one note they said about Cordele is around the time So of course the Confederacy lost. They spent their first 15 years building all these re-education schools, throwing the old Confederates throwing a lot of the old Confederate men in the camps and killing them off and all type of nonsense. It is what again, it's all fair in war. So ain't nobody complaining or crying about what happened, but we just got to deal with facts. You know what I'm saying? So they spent all that time. They spent the first 15 years, the 1870s and all that, chasing down the outlaws and killing a lot of the old Confederate men, the real men, you know what I'm saying, and getting rid of these people, and artificially raising up the fakes, and then a lot of the settlers and old Union troops and these people could move their families deeper and deeper into the old Muslim South. So, and the story of Cordele kind of verifies that, because it says that around the time of 1880, 1890, new people started moving into Cordele, and they called the Cordele area a newly settled area. You know what I'm saying? So why would it be a newly settled area after 1865? I thought a certain type of people was running slaves a certain group of lighter skinned people were running slaves all on plantations in this area, but it's newly settled in 1890, around the 1880s, 1890s. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just getting here. This is old Muslim turf, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all had no past. Literally, you will get a nightstick upside your head coming deep into the South, in the antebellum South. A lot of you clowns and goofballs just walking around here now. You know what I'm saying? And this is the result. Stuff like this is the result of you goofies being allowed even to come in the holy turf. You know what I'm saying? Beautiful building just left in disrepair. It's just really sad. But again, to all of these fake leaders, all the fake leaders in the community that's been pushing this fake communist agenda and colorable agenda of calling the Mississippians black and all that all these years, but these people never told you about your culture and never tried to get you a nationality and a flag and get you back into your buildings. They never told you that the industrialists were squeezing your towns and all that and taking your cities. I mean, literally, look at this as an old prosperous antebellum block. They literally got the PJs, you know what I'm saying? The PJs right down the block, you know what I'm saying? And check it out. This is how we was rolling, you know what I'm saying? We had that technology, you know what I mean? Look at that, in the distance, you got this old water tower. Man, we've been having that running water. But the difference is, again, and then again, check out the antenna, the old radio antenna, free energy antenna on top of this minaret. We've been rocking like that. Again, the main difference is, why you lames, the main difference with this technology has been here. You could go to these towns and they will have running water, air conditioning, heat, electricity, speaker systems and all that, all in the buildings. You know what I'm saying? It just, in the old noble culture, it was in the blood. You had to be of a certain level, a certain bloodline, well put together. You couldn't just be a crazy looking leprous looking goofball, or have the weird looking corrupted DNA and think you finna come around us nobles. You just wasn't finna get it. And if you can't come around us nobles, since we was holding the technology, you're not gonna have no technology. You're gonna be living in a tent. You know what I'm saying? Like most of y'all was doing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all was happy. And it's not, you know what I'm saying? Again, we're not dealing with color. But a lot of you clowns coming in, y'all know who y'all are. You know what I'm saying? Y'all were happy that the industrialist was able to take over, because y'all was finally able to get access to some of these luxuries that we had. But the difference is, we had this technology and these luxuries because we worked to build them. A lot of you clowns didn't work to build anything. Y'all just came up off of being able to take it over in industry and sell it off. And then y'all got rich selling all this stuff to all these other places that ain't got no merit. They ain't deserve none of it. You know what I'm saying? We used to dictate who got what based on the blood, based on knighthood, based on what you achieved, based on your valor and all of that. A lot of these clowns just criminal cutthroats and pieces of trash that don't deserve access to a lot of this stuff. But again, you wanted to help destroy Jerusalem. Again, y'all know Allah is wrathful, so just understand that part of the game. So just, you know what I'm saying, you just sit down and wait. But anyway, Cordele, again, interestingly enough, they said Cordele was newly settled in the late 1800s. But I thought they was down here running the Negro slaves all over the damn place. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Old Muslim town. I mean, y'all just get out of here with that nonsense. But another thing we want to address is, a lot of people in the community, Mississippian community, I think a lot of people just deep down have always wondered why we spent so long with a lot of the weak leadership people and politicians and weak men and stuff like that, and prominent positions in the community. And why these cats don't seem to ever want to really go there and do nothing about the situation. All they do is just generation after generation, they sell out. They sit up here marching and praying, crying and whining and begging. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people just deep down wonder, what is wrong with these people? And why are they in these prominent positions artificially? Like, why don't they just tell everybody to just do what's really necessary to get our stuff back? And it ain't even always just violence. It's just living a certain type of way, living with a common nationality, a common cause. Why don't they do that? You know what I'm saying? The reason is, see, this is like the big play. One of the biggest reason is, and y'all got to do the knowledge, is the civil conflict, the Confederacy. The last time the Mississippian people had real men, was led by real men who actually had international ties and real international plugs, and they could get weapons. They had military training. They had their own situation where they could fight. They could fight it out with whole nations and all of that. Was in the Confederacy. You know what I'm saying? So they killed. Again, they had gotten enough of the real men who were organized to defend the land out of the way after the Civil War. The organized resistance to all of this corporate, demonic, degenerate nonsense, Roman nonsense they was coming here with. That was the organized resistance, was the Confederacy. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, like, we're not saying all the Confederates were good, because you had a lot of sellouts and people switching sides even within the Confederacy, which is why it didn't work at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? At that point, it was so many turncoats and all that, at that point. But I'm just saying, the Confederacy goes back centuries in America. You know what I mean? So that was the Moorish, Muslim, Yahudi military alliance that has defended this land for as long as, longer than any of us can remember. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of 1865, they had gotten a lot of the real men out the way. You know what I'm saying? Like the organized men, it was still real men, but a lot of the organized men, and that's when, again, there were no Methodist AME churches in the South. That's when these clowns, you know what I'm saying, these people, again, this stuff is not indigenous to the America or the South. It just is what it is. But they bringing these Methodist church, you know what I'm saying, into the community and all of that. You know what I mean? And that's who was artificially put in the leadership positions. And that's why people just never felt like they had an organized way to fight back to having their land raided. Because you had these weak men artificially pushed into leadership positions in the community. Now you wonder why you've been watching and praying for 100 years and getting towed up. The Confederate men, saying the real Confederate men were the fighters. They got rid of them men. The cowboys. And again, afterwards, they still were here. They just had to spread out and go into little factions and go and hide and become outlaws. You might have had the Bumpy Johnsons and these people. These are Confederate descendants. These were fighters. They had militias. They still defended everything, but it just wasn't a mass. It wasn't a huge military like it used to be. So just do the knowledge. The real men, the last time you had organized men who were militarily organized to defend the land was in the Confederacy. That's why you've been looking crazy. That's why we all been looking crazy like, damn, where all the real dudes go? You know what I'm saying? Ever since. And you just been having all these whining, crying, and marching, praying clowns all in the way ever since. That's the science. So just do the knowledge. Rep your blood, you know what I'm saying? Rep your history, you know what I'm saying? And be a Mo. So we can, you know what I'm saying? This is your building right here. Just dope, man. All old technology and all that. But they done just left it standing here. It's only telling how long it's gonna even still be here. But anyway, tapping in from Arabia, tapping in from Cordele. Peace. I'll tap back in with y'all later.